Hello, it's Candace Casey. This video is for the purpose of rebutting my child's attorney, Michael Fagaldi's claim that I gave up my right to my son. Well, where's that in writing, Mr. Fagaldi? I don't see anywhere where I gave a signature giving my father permanent custody of my son because I did no such thing. And you're fully aware of that. Also, I think someone needs to give you a dictionary so you can look up the actual meaning of the word hearsay. Hearsay is third-party evidence based on a rumor. Hearsay is not what someone says based on observation. An opinion is opinion. You know, whether it's based on a battery of psychological tests or whether it's based on actual observation. It is clear to me that you know absolutely nothing about psychoanalysis, psychology, psychiatry, any of those things. If you were familiar with psychiatry, you would be aware that psychiatry is a hard science. Therefore, being able to diagnose a mental illness, a diagnosis, that's a soft science. Psychology, which is where you get the diagnosis from, is a soft science. A soft science means that it is not concrete. It's not as if a person can take a test and it can measure, whether or not you have a mental illness. Mental illness is a highly subjective, sort of, whether or not you can determine a mental illness is largely in part due to how honest the client is with you, how open they are with you, because mental illnesses are about what's going on internally. They're about what's going on in a person's heart, in a person's mind, and that's not something that you can measure by answering a series of random multiple choice questions. No matter how many multiple choice questions, especially if you have a ton of multiple choice questions that are specifically designed so that they catch some sort of neurotic behavior. As far as you're questioning the length of time, that maybe it wasn't 45 minutes, I don't know. It was over 2 years ago. It's not as if these tests weighed so heavily on my mind because, first of all, they wouldn't be the first psychiatric test that I was made to undergo. And second of all, they were not done in the same way that I am used to a psychological evaluation doing. Psychological evaluations, as a general rule within the actual, traditional psychological setting, are done over a relationship, over the duration of a relationship with a client, over a client and their psychologist actually getting to know each other, getting a feel for one another, establishing a case plan, all those sort of things. These people who met me once, regardless of their background, regardless of their education, they will never have a good overall feel of who I am, what I believe or think, because they don't interact with me, whether it's over the phone, whether it's on a teleprompter, whatever. They don't interact with me on a daily basis. They don't interact with me on a weekly basis. They don't interact with me on a monthly basis. As far as how many times we've gone into the clinic, you are fully aware of the fact that we don't have a vehicle, and you are also fully aware of the fact, which I repeatedly told you, that I talked to Dr. Banks on the phone. You don't know me very well, therefore, saying that I'm not complying with psychiatric treatment. First of all, I am not an invalid who needs psychiatric treatment every day, and that's one of the reasons I no longer go through the county. I am a very independent woman. I like doing things for myself. I do not like people doing things for me that I know that I can do for myself. And my agreement, as I understood it, for my father to care for my son was temporary, not permanent, and you are fully aware of that because I expressed to you in the beginning of our case the option of a standby guardianship with the child's godmother, who actually was there from the day Nicholas was born, another person whom my father would probably cut out of my son's life if he gets permanent custody of my son. I do not feel that you are adequately representing my son because you are clearly making it appear that you are arguing the department's case for them when your job is not to represent CPS. Your job is not to represent my father, and I, of course, know that your job is not to represent me, but your job is to represent Nicholas. And I'm sorry, but no one who attacks a child's mother as vehemently as you do could possibly represent a child. Because, first of all, you are fully aware that I am not a drug addict. You're fully aware that I am not a unfit mother, as you would put it. And you are also fully aware of the fact that I have fought tooth and nail just for the right to visit my son. And I think it is very hypocritical of you. As a defense attorney, you represent people you know are guilty every day, and you know that I am not.